Opening arguments start Monday in former President Trump's hush money trial with a full jury and alternates selected and sworn in. Now, Trump saying this yesterday.
What's happening here with the judicial system is an outrage. This is a giant witch hunt to try and hurt a campaign that's beating the worst president in history.
All right, let's bring in former federal prosecutor Brett Tolman now to look forward. You know, I do want to look forward, Brett. It's hard. Honestly, it is hard because, you know, as an attorney and being raised in the attorney, the community of attorneys, I know the trial's kind of over once the jury is sworn in. Like, the point is that often it's like, who'd you put on the jury? And that's how it goes. But still, we have an entire trial here to try to sway someone's hopefully impartial mind. How does it start on Monday with opening arguments?
Well, thanks for having me on. Well, I'll tell you that the thing when I went into the courtroom, when you know you're first approaching that jury, sometimes the initial words you use, they feel like it's the most pivotal moment, and you hope as an attorney you can just persuade them right at the beginning to see the case your way. What you're doing is hoping that you're planting some seeds, but it's really going to come down to what is their perspective of the defendant in this case, Donald Trump, and what is the perspective on how well the prosecution is going to match up the facts with the actions of Mr. Trump, and then to assess whether or not the law really prohibits what the prosecution is alleging. It's a really intimidating moment for an attorney, but once it starts rolling, you'll start to see that jurors will start to get more comfortable in their role. The prosecutor and the defense attorney will start to develop, hopefully a rapport with the jury. This case, though, is not like any other. It is as intense, and we've seen all the emotion and drama around it, and it is equally more difficult if you don't have the facts and the law isn't on your side. And that's what this prosecutor really is going to be battling in that courtroom. Yeah,
but I can imagine, I can envision the prosecutor's opening argument. I can almost hear it before it's made, you know, and it'll be highly emotional, and it'll be nobody's above the law and these types of things. But I am curious, so most of the stuff that we have talked about appropriately has to do with the application of the law to this situation and how that's unjust. What will be the message from Donald Trump's attorneys in opening argument? What will they be asking? How will they be asking the jury to situate their mind?
If I'm in their shoes, I'm telling the jury right now that reasonable doubt is actually where this case begins, and it only gets worse for the prosecution. And let me give you the two most important pieces of evidence. You have the statement, the written and signed statement by Stormy Daniels. Very powerful, indicates that the payment was not in relation to some extramarital affair. You have that she has not backed away from. That's a piece of evidence that immediately puts reasonable doubt in terms of what the purpose of the funds were. And then the second letter is Michael Cohen, their clearly their most important witness, has indicated very clearly that he paid with his own money, that this was not instigated by Donald Trump. And those two pieces of evidence, that is the very heartland of reasonable doubt in a case like this. And so if I'm the defense attorney, I stand up, I point out that's what they're going to see, and I'm going to tell them that it's going to get worse from there for the prosecution.
So on appeal, we'll talk about things like whether or not these misdemeanors had run their statute of limitations, whether or not there was jurisdictional value in pleading them or charging them up to felonies to continue them, you know, to be able to bring this. That'll all be for the law on appeal. This now begins the facts phase of the entire thing. And as you point out, those are the two facts you would focus on to ask, hey, don't you think there's reasonable doubt? And so we'll be watching for that this week. Brett, thanks so much for setting the stage.
That's right.